Hi everyone, this is Theo from ProcketBlocks.com. Welcome to another product review. Today I'm going to review the Tombow Dual Brush Pens. You can probably consider them as markers. They come with two tips. One is the brush tip and the other is the fine tip. Let's take a look at the packaging. So this is the packaging. I bought only gray colors because I don't want so many colors that would confuse me. Now the markers, they are water-based, they are blendable, acid-free, and here it says that the tip can self-clean after blending, so I'm going to try that later. And there's a total of 96 colors and they are sold in different types of sets, so I bought the gray set. And this is made in Vietnam. Alright, so for today's review, I'm going to create some color swatches. I'm going to compare the Tombow Dual Brush Pens with the Sakura brush pens, and I'm going to try and see if I can actually make the ink soluble with my water brush. And finally, I'm going to color a sketch with these gray brush pens. The Tombow brush pen is quite long. When I compare this to the Sakura Koi brush pen, the difference is quite significant. So the ink capacity for this is probably higher. There is no clip on the cap, but there's this little extrusion here that prevents the brush pen from rolling around. You can actually put the cap at the back, and it works either way for the big cap and the small cap. The design of the brush pen is very simple. There's not a lot of label on it. It just says that Tombow ABT, acid free. This is N15 and this is the barcode. There's no name for the particular color, so I mean this is black, but there's no label to say that this is black. This is some sort of gray, and the numbers, they are, I'm not sure how representative they are. I mean, this is N15. This is N45, N55, N60, and the colors on the cap, they are, I think it's a bit difficult to differentiate sometimes between the tones. For example, this looks like some sort of lavender. I'm not sure why this lavender color is N60 and it's between all these colors here. Alright, now I'm going to create some swatches and compare them with the Sakura Koi Brush Pens. I'm going to start with the lightest color first. This is the N95. Let's write that down. Can you see the shade of gray? This is N95. And let's try and shade this. I'm going to try to blend the color and see if I can get a very even wash. So it seems that I am able to do that around this area. Let's move on to the next shade. This is N65. So this is much darker. The paper that I'm using is 200 GSM cartridge paper. So if you are going to overlay the markers like this, you're going to see all these overlay streaking marks. But if you apply it like this, then you're going to get a much even wash. The next is N60. These are water-based ink, so they are probably dye-based, and because they are dye-based, they are not supposed to be light fast. So if you want these markers to create archival work, these are not the markers to use. It works quite well on this cartridge paper, on smooth paper. And lastly, the black. This is N15, sorry. It's quite dark. And now I'm going to use the Sakura Koi Brush Pens to create swatches below so that I can compare the two brands. I'm going to start with the cool colors. Sakura gray brush pens, they come with cool and warm grays, so I'm going to start with the cool. Both brands perform quite similarly. I was able to get flat wash very easily, although there are some streaking marks here. I'm going to try this again later, the N95. The main thing to take note here is the colors of the grays. So I think they are actually all over the place, especially for the Sakura Koi. For the Tombow, it's quite good, except for this particular color that stands out. This is more like a lavender gray to me. So it doesn't look like this color belongs to the gray family of this 5. So this is more like a cool gray with a purplish tone, but these are more like neutral grays. Now the Sakura Koi, the gray tones, they vary a bit more wildly. I think the warm tones, they are alright, but the cool tones, you can see here, there is this greenish cast for this, and these two are sort of cool, I guess. This, I'm not actually quite sure whether this is cool or warm. If I put these two together, they may actually look like they are from the same warm gray family. So yeah. Alright, so the one nice thing about brush pen is because of the brush tip, you can get thin and thick strokes. So just now I probably have shown you a bit. So this is thin and thick. The thinnest line I can get is something like that, and the thickest line is probably like that. Unless you want to use the side of the brush pen, then you can get a much broader stroke. Let's compare that to the Pentel color brush pen, which uses actual brush bristles. I can get a much finer line, and I can get a much broader stroke. And if I use the side of the Pentel brush pen, I can get a broad stroke as well. And all these strokes, they are much broader compared to the Tombow brush pen. One thing you might notice is the Pentel color brush pen, it actually puts out a lot of ink. But the Tombow brush pen, it's like marker, so it dries almost instantly. I do have to wait for this to dry. And when I put out so much ink like this, when it dries, it actually creates some sort of back run here. So you need to be a bit more careful when using brush pens like this. So that's how the Pentel color brush pen looks like when you leave too much ink when you lift up your brush tip. Alright, now I'm going to try and blend different grays together. I'm going to start with the lightest gray. This is the N95 light gray. Let me apply another layer over it. I'm starting to feel the fiber of the paper coming off, and this is 200 GSM paper. So you might actually need to use a better quality marker paper if you like blending. Okay, now this is sort of like the third layer, and I'm not sure if you can see, but the paper fiber is actually starting to come off. So yes, you can blend the colors, but you need to blend it on quality paper, and it blends quite well. These are water-based markers. By the way, the brush pen, it doesn't give off any sort of smell. So this dries rather quickly. Now let's move on to coloring a sketch that I have drawn using the Tombow brush pen. So this is the sketch that I've drawn earlier with Noodler's bulletproof black ink, which is waterproof when dry. I am not going to use the lavender gray because it's quite out of place. I'll be using this 5 instead. Now these three grays, they look quite similar to me in terms of tonal value, so if I want to get a darker shade, then I probably have to overlay it a few times, and hopefully the watercolor paper that I'm using is able to resist the extra blending. Watercolor paper is definitely more durable compared to the cartridge paper. At least I can actually blend it many times and the paper fiber still holds up quite well, so that is great. And these brush pens, they are so convenient for quick sketches like this. I can color them very easily, very quickly, and these are great for tonal studies. Here's a closer look at the completed sketch. So I was able to get flat washes very easily. And here you see some ink actually came off from the eye of this guy because the noodleless ink, it did not dry completely. And now for the last stage, let's see if I can actually use my water brush to blend some of the colors. So the water-based ink from the Tombow brush, it does dissolve when you apply water over it. I can pull out some of the grays. This allows me to blend even better, even easier. Oops, you can see here, this part here, the black ink dissolves. Alright, I think I shall just leave it as it is. I don't want to damage it any further. I think this is almost done. So that's it for today's review. I think these brush pens, they work quite well. They are very easy to work with. They are quite similar to the Sakura Koi brush pens, so actually there's not much difference between the quality of this brush pen versus the Sakura Koi. But with the Tombow brush pen, you get the fine tip, which I seldom use anyway. I like to use the brush tip for coloring because it's so convenient. So that's all for today's video review. If you have any questions, post them in the comment section below. If you use these brush pens, I would love to hear your opinions and your experience with them. Thanks for watching. See you in the next review. Bye.